Now I've broken into my piggy bank again and treated myself to this Ryobi scroll saw. It was on offer for half price and I like a bargain and I can't say no to a good deal. Unfortunately, when I see a tool that I really want, I don't worry about where I'm going to put it. I just buy the tool and then worry about that later. So with this one, I've done the same, and there's not a great deal of room in this place. However, there is one little cubby hole I think I can squeeze it in. So the point of today's video is to make a scroll saw stand stroke bench so I can wheel this in and out when I don't need it. So this is the little space that I have in mind. It measures about 31.5 centimeters across by 600 deep. I do store my tiling stuff in here, so I do have to build some storage into the cart bench so I can put these back in there because there's nowhere else I can store these. So using yet another piece of this salvage packaging crate plywood, I set about cutting the base out. Now Evolution sent me the R185ccsx Plus recently, and this is an ideal opportunity to put it to use. So once I cut the bottom piece out, off camera I cut out some little squares that I will use as spacers for the casters to fit onto. These are quite easy to fix and they're just held in place with some wood glue and brad nails. And then when I moved on to fitting the casters, I made sure that the screws were long enough to go through the plywood spacers into the plywood base. Now I've got to give it a try. Slides in like a dream. So I've got to this stage where I'm just trying out the space I have with the toolbox and a tile cutter on top. Now I am concerned that by having these on there it's going to turn out a little bit boxy, look a little bit rubbish. So I think the best thing is I'll stick these in the attic in my house. Very rarely I do tiling anyway, so they're out of the way. And then I can make this a better shape. So I had a little think and a play about with a few different ideas, and I decided to cut in on the sides, going all the way up to the top, just to give it an extra dimension and a bit of shape. I had to dig out the jigsaw to make these cuts because obviously the Evolution saw isn't designed to make these small cuts. So then it was back on to cutting the front supports out. With the Evolution saw, I taped up the dust extraction on the front. However, this did come off and I didn't bother putting it back on because you can see how the saw performs without it. Then I just glued and screwed the front section together, checking it was square of course as I went. Then back over to the Evolution saw to cut out the rear support parts. I positioned everything on the base where I wanted it. I drew around them, and this allowed me to drill out the holes and countersink them from underneath, before securing it all in place with even more screws. So rather than having a rectangle shaped top, I placed a scroll saw on top, and again drew around that so I could have a little bit of a better shape. And then moved on to cutting that out again with the jigsaw. Once everything was fixed into position, I went over the top piece with a 1/4 inch round over bit in the router just to smooth everything off. So now we're 4 weeks later on after getting this far with the project. I have to be honest, I didn't really like the way it was starting to go, didn't like the look of it, and although functionally it worked well, I just didn't like the look of it. So I tried painting it. That didn't look too good either, so I painted it again and it marginally improved it. And I even went as far as making a drawer for the front of it to catch your waste bits in. Although that did improve it a bit more, it just doesn't look great to me. Functionally, as I say, it works great, it works as I wanted it to, but I think next time a bit more thought is needed in the design process.
However, as you can see here, I can slide over on my stool to the scroll saw stand, pull it out, and then cut out whatever piece I'm working on, and it is a nice height to work at. The addition of the scrap drawer underneath worked really well. I can just chuck all the offcuts in there, and once it's full I can then horse them all in the fire. And it also slides back into position really neat and tidy. So here's the final piece. It's not a work of art by any means, but if you like this project build, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.
As regards the Evolution saw, I'm quite looking forward to using that in other projects. Left a really good finish on the cut, although the dust extraction could be improved a little bit. So there we go, that is as far as I've got now with my scroll saw stand. I think it's one of these projects that I'm probably going to tinker with over time just to try and get it to look better. Functionally, as I say, can't fault it, it's a perfect height, it's just what I wanted. But I just need to put a bit more thought into it, I think. Anyway, I hope this is useful for some of you, and I'll see you again on the next video.